All right, well, we're going to move into the next part of our events tonight, and that is the IEEE President-elect candidates. We have a table up here, and we are very honored to have our two IEEE candidates for this coming year here with us tonight. And we're going to give them a little time to tell them about themselves, and then we're going to ask some questions. And so we are passing out some sheets, and we would really like to have some questions from you. This is your chance to talk to the IEEE President candidates, find out what they're thinking. Something may have been bothering you, or something that you'd like to understand. Please take a moment and fill those in. Scott will be picking them up. Some of the other staff probably will as well. So if you've got a question, please get it to him, and they're going to feed it up to me. So with that, I'm going to introduce our two candidates, and I'll just take them in the order that they're on my sheet here. Roger Pollard is the first candidate. So Roger, if you want to come up, please. And while he's coming up, I'll introduce the second candidate, and it's Peter Stecker. And Peter is sitting over here. Peter, if you would want to come up as well, please. So I have the great honor of knowing both of these people personally, and being just extremely happy that there are candidates. The IEEE Assembly selects the candidates for IEEE President-elect. And I think they did a marvelous job. Gave us two excellent candidates for this year, and this is your chance to learn about them. The election won't take place now until, I think it's August it starts, isn't it? Sometime in August. And so you'll be way ahead of the curve. You'll know something about these people long before it happens. There's too many of our members don't have a chance to actually see these people personally, and this is your opportunity. So, and I think with that, we're going to give each of you 5 minutes to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about you, and let's see. We're using portable mics. Is that what we're using? Okay. So we have one here. Is there a second mic? Is there? We just have one. They're moving it back and forth. Okay. So you're going to hold your microphone apparently. So. Okay. And Roger, yeah, if you would please introduce yourself.
How's that? Hi, good evening everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me. Somebody suggested that a Brit walking into IEEE USA is a bit like walking into the lion's den, and we will see. I'll start off by telling you something about me and my career. I've been an academic for the last 36 years, but in addition I've also worked in industry. So I think if you like, I've played both sides of the camp. I've just retired after 36 years at the University of Leeds in England. I've been head of the Department of Electrical Engineering, and at the point at which I retired I was Dean of Engineering. For those of you who are not familiar with the UK, it's about 4,000 miles that way. But the University of Leeds is the second largest engineering faculty in the UK, after, of course, our old friends Imperial College. We push through about 3,500 students a year. The other thing that you would also might be interested in is the fact that even post-retirement, I'm continuing to work for a small outfit called Agilent Technologies out of Santa Rosa, California. And I've consulted for them for the last 30 odd years. And when they heard I was retiring, they said, "Yippee, why don't you come and work for us full-time?" And I said, "No, I've been working full-time for the last 40 years, please. How about part-time?" So that's what I'm now doing, working part-time. The other thing you might be interested in is that I've been an IEEE volunteer for over 35 years. and I've done my share of duty in chapters. I've been a section chair. I've worked on the region committee. I've worked for the Microwave Theory and Techniques Society, amongst others. I've been on TAB, PSPB, and most recently on the board of directors as Vice President for Technical Activities, and I'm currently the 2011 IEEE Secretary. So, you know, I'm not trying to say I've done everything, but I've done a pretty wide perspective of it. But what I'd like to talk to you about in the sort of 3 minutes I've got left.
Yeah, Russell gave you what, 2-minute warning, so.
Okay. Is that I see the future of IEEE in terms of a number of major issues. The first of these is that IEEE is transnational. IEEE's leader must understand the US base and the issues that its members raise. But that's because this is where the majority of our members live. But we must have a broader international perspective. The second point is that membership is and remains at the heart of IEEE. I support the development of a multi-tier membership offering. Members need a geographic home as well as a technical home, and we're working to create a new membership model where everybody would have a single society membership bundled in with their IEEE membership, and I think that would be a good thing. And we also believe that they should accrue additional benefits which result from length of membership. The third issue I think that's important is we need to expand our technology base. We need to make a number of related disciplines, as an example life sciences, feel at home in IEEE. Think about it. All of the world's big problems, all of the world's grand challenges are all multidisciplinary. We cannot continue to work in our little silos. Allied to that, IEEE must get more involved in education, but I mean education at all levels, because that is the only way we are going to ensure the future of our profession. In addition, we need to support the career development of those already in the profession, and we must strive to be the world's premier provider of high-quality technical information for the full range of our stakeholders, students, the full range of practitioners, everybody from researchers through to product developers, through to maintenance people. So the future of IEEE is about building a global community, and that is my firm belief. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Roger. And we'll give Peter a chance to put the mic on.
Okay, thank you. Roger and I both prepared biographies for this meeting, but I don't see them on the table. So my comment was going to be, after a short bio, I'll accept any questions about me. But so I'll have to tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, Roger and I are from the same society. We're both microwave people. I am not an academic. I grew up at Lincoln Lab and then went to industry, where I spent the rest of my career. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is that one of our most highly regarded volunteers, Leo Young, was mentor to us both. And you probably know Leo because he's the one who was at the very beginning of what's today IEEE USA. He's the one responsible for portable pensions, and he's a real beacon for all of us. So I've been a member of the Microwave Theory and Techniques Society for many years. I've been working with IEEE for many years. I've just completed my 5th year on the board of directors, and that's about all I need to tell you about me. What I want to talk about for the rest of the time is advancing technology for humanity. And I believe in that short little phrase there's much direction and challenge for us. First of all, Advancing technology means advancing the business of our technology. And as you know, we are highly regarded for our publications. This is the business we're in. We are in this business in a very competitive environment. And while we have a good position, we have a strong record of providing very good content, we need to work on this every day. And we have to move away from just supplying PDFs from our distribution system. We have to supply knowledge. This is going to take a big investment in both money and in volunteer resources. Advancing technology also means enlarging our technology footprint. And we're having trouble doing that because we have 45 societies, and we're all sort of tightly grouped, and we're changing the footprint by filling in the white space between the two societies, but this leads to arguments about who owns what, and instead we should be thinking out of the box. Look at the grand challenges that are put forward by the national academies, and I mean academies from all nations. This is going to give us ideas to move into life sciences, for example. So that's another aspect of advanced technology. Advancing technology means supporting the member, individually and collectively, by constantly improving member value, globally. IEEE USA is already doing a really good job of that in regions 1 through 6, and I think you folks have set the template for moving that into all the rest of the world, and we'll look to you for guidance on that. The tricky part is to be effective globally, you have to be successful locally, and this is tough stuff. You can argue that, well, and you can also argue that this is a little easier to do in regions 1 through 6 because we're kind of homogeneous. But if I look at my friend Dave Pierce, man from the South, me, a man from Boston, I see that there's some heterogeneity in all of us. So we can gain from our diversity. Advancing technology means preparing our youth from K to 12. I was just at a lecture yesterday at the Life Members Meeting in Boston talking about pre-K education. It's very important to prepare our youth for an engineering career. And finally, advanced technology means supporting the practitioner. We are all practitioners, and we're not really represented well in the products that we make. So there's an opportunity there for us as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, both of you. And Roger, I think you'll find we're a very warm audience here. And you know, whether you're a Brit or whether you're from Boston, we're friendly to everyone. We now have a number of questions that we're going to go through, and I appreciate the ones that came from the audience, and I think there may be a few more that are being, coming up, so we'll work on them. And I believe the rules is 2 minutes per person. Is that correct? So we'll give each of you 2 minutes to respond, and Russ will continue to keep the time and so forth for you, so you'll be able to do that. And the first question that I have is, how do you see the role of IEEE USA fitting into the larger IEEE? And Peter, we'll start with you.
I think IEEE USA is the poster child for member careers, and that's an immediate plus. Anything having to do with member value and career help is something that you've been doing here for a long time.
Okay. Roger?
I think if IEEE USA didn't exist, you would have to invent it. In almost every other country in the world that I know of, IEEE coexists with a national society. In the USA, IEEE is the national society. IEEE USA exists embedded in it, and it's stronger and it's better for that. And I believe that being able to represent the profession in the strongest possible way to your government of whatever flavor, as well as being able to be embedded in a technical profession and help members' careers, is vitally important, and the importance of that, in my view, cannot be underestimated.
Okay. Next question also came from the audience, and this one's an interesting one. It kind of relates to something I mentioned earlier, and the question is, how do you plan to reverse the declining membership in IEEE USA? And Roger, we'll start with you this time.
That's always a difficult one. The real problem is that there is a decline in membership in all kinds of societies and associations. People are reluctant to join anything. It's not unique to IEEE USA. It's not unique to any organization. And what you need to do is you need to demonstrate value. People need to feel that they are joining a community of other like-minded people, and what they'll get out of it is something that is valuable to them. In the case of IEEE USA, it seems to me that the community is the important thing. The way in which they feel they are made to be viewed as important by the people who count, the people who create jobs, the people who take your taxes, and all that kind of thing. So it really is about get that message out there and make sure people understand what it is that IEEE USA and IEEE in the large is all about. And it's not about you pay your money and we deliver you goods and services. It's about creating a community of like-minded technical professionals with a goal and a vision as to where they want to be.
I killed myself getting up. This is great because it gives me another chance to talk about the practitioner. This is an element of IEEE that has been leaving us. We are not relevant to the folks who deal with specifications, product development, program management, standards, news briefs, and techniques of doing their job on a daily basis. Those people do not find value in IEEE. We can change that. We can add continuing education, certification, and other ways of bringing the practitioners back into the organization. And we're not going to be able to do it through the standard IP offerings that we have now, because they're all designed for high-level research and academics. The Explore database is the Explore offerings are ideally tailored for moving forward through your academic career, but they don't help the practitioner. We can do that and increase our membership.
Okay. And Peter, you're going to get the next one. So.
Okay.
The next question is, why is there an IEEE USA and not an IEEE Europe, an IEEE Asia, etc.? Is this a potential source of resentment to the international members?
Well, yes, it is a potential source of resentment. On the other hand, there are features of IEEE USA that should be in every region. And I see elements of that happening already. There's an organization in Region 8 which is moving to, by the way, Region 8 I'm going to be in a while, and it's going to be a reversal of roles for Roger and me. But Region 8 is working on member careers and member value, and so if the concept of IEEE USA were to change at all, it could change in a way that would be uniform across all regions. So I don't see it as a lasting problem.
To answer that question, you've got to understand that we're a product of our history. In the case of an awful lot of countries in Europe, their national associations started off historically as gatekeepers, and some of them still are. So, for example, in some countries, in order to be able to practice engineering or describe yourself as an engineer, you need to join one of these organizations. IEEE didn't start off like that. IEEE started off as a learned society in the USA, I believe, if my memory serves me right, as the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. And it grew into IEEE and offered membership in this learned society with all of the advantages that conveyed in terms of transferring information as the years went by. IEEE has never ever set itself out to be a gatekeeper, and that is the real biggest difference, I think, between the historical development. And so consequently, it's very unlikely, given the history, that things like IEEE Europe, IEEE Australia, or IEEE anywhere else would exist on the same sort of basis as IEEE USA does, simply because of the way that it's grown. It's a good idea, but frankly, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Okay. Can you keep the mic?
Yeah, sure.
We'll get you for the next one here. This one's just a little bit different and kind of relates to something that I was talking about earlier, and it says member engagement requires better communications, top down and bottom up. Do you have a vision of how that should work?
I think that we do a pretty good job of communication top-down. IEEE has an awful lot of vehicles for top-down communication. Everything from the various periodicals, Spectrum, the Institute, the whole slew of email distribution lists that we have, and I'm sure everybody gets, after a while, fed up of the amount of top-down communication that they get. We've not been very good at the bottom-up piece, and I think that this is a real developing role for the social media. It seems to me that a number of the groupings that you have in things like Facebook and LinkedIn are beginning to create a bottom-up sort of consensus of member views and member groupings, and these are actually being read quite avidly by people at the top end of IEEE who are using them to get messages about what members at the grassroots really think, really want, and as well as ways of sharing experience, knowledge, and problems. So by and large, I think the top down isn't bad, but the bottom up is growing, and growing quite rapidly.
I agree with Roger on the social media piece. It's really helping us to understand what's going on, and that plays right into the issue of to being effective globally, you need to be successful locally, and so you're going to have networks that associate the feelings of localities and move them right up to the top level. The additional thing I'd like to say is that who is going to do this? And I think it's going to be the young people of our society, because they're the ones who are so good at it now. I've had the pleasure and honor of working with Gold in the past few years, and those folks are just amazing. They offer the bridge between students who are in school and the full members that are in IEEE, and they are the ones who are communicating on a daily, sometimes almost hourly basis about what they do and what they think we should do. And I just saw Lee Stogner, who I see every day on LinkedIn, so you don't have to be young.
Okay, and you can keep it, Peter, with the
Okay.
microphone. The next question is kind of builds off of what you've been talking about before, but maybe give you a chance to define something very, very well. What are your top 3 activities you will champion to generate more value for the U.S. IEEE members? What are your top 3 activities you will champion to generate more value for the U.S. IEEE members?
Okay. The business aspect of our technology. We are in a competitive world, and we need to be competitive. Member value, and what else? I guess continuing education. That's a piece of the member value, and it's a part that we have much strength in, but we haven't really deployed it to its fullest extent.
Okay.
I find it difficult to define 3 activities that would distinctly benefit members in the US and not IEEE members across the globe. So, the first one is that I believe that we need to make sure that there is more information that is relevant to the whole range of our stakeholders in IEEE, especially, as Peter described, practitioners. We have got the information is actually there. The trouble is right now, it's data. It's articles in IEEE Explore, and we have got to mine that data for useful information that practitioners can use, and in fact everybody within our stakeholder community can use. So for me, that is job number 1. Job number 2 is about the membership model and expanding the range of different benefits and different values that people can get from membership. Membership must not be one size fits all. And the third thing is to understand members' development through their careers and make sure that we have a range of offerings that are applicable in terms of activities to people in different stages of their careers and employed in different kinds of industry and activities. So those are probably the 3 top hits there.
Okay. And Roger will give you this next question. And this one's a kind of a little different aspect. You can have great benefits of IEEE membership, but it doesn't mean much unless we've done a good job of marketing it. So the question is, how should we better market the benefits of IEEE membership so existing members and prospective members better appreciate belonging to our technical professional society, or association, I guess it is.
Okay. The biggest problem that I have right now with IEEE membership as we presently market it is that what we do is we say to people, come along, join IEEE, pay your $150 a year or whatever it may be, and that will give you a nice magazine every month, award-winning Spectrum, and in addition, it will entitle you to buy a whole range of other products and services that you can find out about. Now that has always seemed to me to be a little bit on the odd side. We put huge amounts of effort into recruiting people just to sell them further products and services. So what I believe we need to do here is we need to rebuild the membership model. We do not have a very clear value proposition for what IEEE membership is. Why should you become a member of IEEE? What's in it for you? And until we've got that very clear value proposition, and I personally believe that the value proposition of IEEE membership first and foremost is about community. So it's about networking, it's about conferences, it's about all of those kind of things. But until we've got a very clear message about what the value proposition of IEEE membership is, it becomes very difficult to sell it. And that is again, that's not just a local problem, it's a global problem. And it's demonstrated in our very poor retention of membership. Roughly, getting on for 50% of our members do not remain members for 5 years. And that's bad news, and it means that if we make promises, we're failing to deliver on them, or we're setting the expectations wrongly.
What was the question again? Yeah. So I agree with Roger. We need to constantly focus on the member. There are other things we can focus on too. Advancing technology for humanity. It's the humanity piece which represents our public imperatives that will make us more familiar to more people. And that in itself is a good advertisement for IEEE. The humanity piece is beginning to happen. We have a number of volunteers, again led by our young folks, who are interested in reaching out and helping people less fortunate than themselves. What we need to do is encourage that. Part of the business of our technology will throw off money that will allow us to do that. And the other part is to inform the public through all of our volunteer activities of what is going on in IEEE. Make us more visible.
Okay. And they tell me this has to be our last question, so this one's a little different take, and this relates to policy. And the question is, IEEE USA has been very successful in affecting public policy in the USA. By what mechanisms can we extend these best practices in regions outside of the USA?
Yes, we have. And Roger's probably going to be able to do this a little better than me, because I don't know what the governmental issues are, how easy it is to have discourse with the government in other regions. But there's certainly a model for interaction that can be adapted to any region.
I think that the answer to this question is about understanding that governments are actually the same worldwide, and that governments are usually ill-informed. I mean, I don't know what the situation is in the US, but for example, in my own country, there is only one member of parliament in the current parliament who is a qualified scientist. So what you're dealing with is ignorance. 99% of the problem is actually combating ignorance. And IEEE USA is a good role model for everybody else in the other regions in the world as to how to combat that ignorance, how to effectively provide factual information and lobby not on the basis of we give you lots of money or we vote for you or whatever, but here is fact, here is real useful information. Please read it. Please take some notice of it. And it just seems to me that those are the lessons that IEEE USA can give to people in other countries of the world, because it seems to me that it's been singularly effective in my observation, and I admit I'm an outsider, but in my observation, it's been singularly effective in lobbying in Washington.
Okay. Great. Since that was the last question, we now have 2 minutes for each of the candidates to make a closing statement. And Roger, we might as well let you. You want to make a closing statement first?
I went first, Peter.
Okay. All right. Peter, please. We have a couple of real gentlemen here, so this is great.
Unaccustomed as I am to making closing statements, we are technologists. We live to solve problems, incremental as well as big picture. And we can do all of the stuff that we need to do. Thanks.
Okay. IEEE is important. IEEE is important not just to all of us, but to the world at large, because it's one of the very few gatherings together of people across disciplinary boundaries who can solve some of the real big world challenges. And it seems to me that the future of IEEE is about building a global community of technologists working to create the future. Technology and technologists do not know of boundaries, least of all geographic ones. And if we can build this global community, we can have some sense that we are doing something about creating a future for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to both of our candidates. We really appreciate both of you taking the time and being at our meeting and participating with us as well. And hopefully all of you got a sense of what these people are like. You're going to have many other opportunities. They're going to be around the meeting area, and they are both very approachable. Please just come up and talk to them, ask your questions, or just chat. They'd be happy to talk to you and would love to hear from each of you. So I'm not sure either of them have NASA pins or anything like that to reward you with. That's a little different stop, but they'd still love to see you and love to talk to you. So. And then last, I'd like to thank all of you for the questions that you had. More questions than we obviously got to tonight, and they are very good questions. So I thank you all. You did a great job as well. So great job.